coming with it. Flow down sight, palm holds a mic. This is my life, get it right, can I can hustle. Inspired by the cream of the crop, won't let it stop till I drop.
But you've got a bit of a past coming from sport, going through work and where you are now. So, what we just wanted to have a chat to you about is we actually take the piss out of you sometimes about just for the fun of it all, about you being an SG Ball Player of the Year.
Nice.
Just to let you guys know, what year? 2008 was it?
2008, North Sydney SG Ball Players Player and Player of the Year.
For those that don't know,
North Sydney Bears.
Yeah. For those that don't know rugby league, and I'm more of a Union fan, but until I found out that this is actually a big deal, there's all these NRL players right now that never really achieved what you did. So it's really good to try and understand, what was your mindset when you were playing? How did you want to start playing at that high level? What was that journey like to becoming the recognized amongst your peers as a player's player? And, you're not playing NRL now, but, you gave that up. But then how you transitioned that to now, so it's about having that crack.
Yeah, it is. So I think the first thing is there's a big difference between playing like junior reps and then playing NRL. It is actually like really, really hard to crack NRL. It's like the top 1% of guys, even still, they don't make NRL. So I think, appreciate you guys saying that, but to say, you play SG Ball and that you'd be playing NRL, you got guys that captain Australians under 20 teams that they don't make NRL. So it's all about opportunities and you need windows to open. So
do you reckon if you kept playing, you would have made it?
No chance.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Chance.
Why?
No
though?
chance.
When you say top 1%, right? But then
Yeah.
if you're recognized by your peers as the best player of the year at that level, why would you not have been given an option?
If you think about it, there's 16 NRL teams, right? Each year, each team has junior reps that come through.
Yeah.
And NRL teams are set each year. Like, whose spot do you take? Let's talk about the Roosters, for example, right? You might, if you're a front rower, you've got Jared Hargraves and Takiaho in there right now.
Yeah.
6 years of like under 20s best front rowers, they don't make NRL. Because whose spot are they taking? Hargraves or Takiaho's? So you have guys that captain Australia, captain under 20s teams that don't make it. So playing junior reps is, and I've got a lot of mates that have played like junior reps for footy and stuff like that, we're kind of in the same boat that had potential where you play junior reps and never made it. But I think to actually make NRL is a completely different ball game.
You actually make a point when you say that. It's like Stuart McGill was a great leg spinner. He just played in the wrong time. He was never going to replace Warren. So,
yeah, that's right. You can.
I guess, like you said, when teams are set, it's hard to replace at
That's
that
right.
time and place. But
Teams are set. Guys get big contracts. Like, you don't just knock a guy out of his spot. So
Tell us about the journey, bro. So you went to a small Christian school,
Yeah.
40 people in your grade. You're obviously captain of the Christian school, of the footy team of the Christian school. And then you played New South Wales CIS footy. And then you wanted to go and try out for SG Ball. So
Yep.
firstly, did you back yourself when you went there, or were you like scared about what was going to happen?
so it's a tryout space. It's not like
Yeah.
a possession base.
So
right.
wait,
Yeah.
well, firstly you tried out for Parramatta, right?
Yeah. So how it works is that some of the bigger teams which have big junior bases like Penrith, Parramatta, you get invited to trial to these. So I got invited to those.
Who did you
And
whack to
then-
get invited?
Sorry?
You whacked someone in a game, obviously.
No,
Like,
you
we'll
get
take
like
it.
you get invited to these Parramatta and Penrith trials and that, and you don't make those. And then you got smaller teams like North Sydney Bears, Academy, the Dragons, where kind of good junior players from big junior bases like Parramatta and Penrith, a lot of kids. Like, for example, North Sydney Bears team, we had 3 North Sydney juniors actually playing our team. The rest was the kind of guys from Parramatta and Penrith that couldn't get a crack at those teams that went out and played for these other clubs. But it was still good. I mean, at the time I was doing a cadetship in accounting. So I was training at North Sydney 3 nights a week. Working full time. Then on my days off, we had like a gym program and diets we had to do, and then we play on the weekend. So it was still a good experience. I think we still trained just as hard, and but yeah, that's how we kind of ended up at North Sydney.
Tell us about the tryouts though. So
okay.
You went out to Parramatta firstly. But then obviously you didn't get in. So then
went out to Parramatta. Normally play in the back row, and got put in as a front row in the tryouts because the back rows has already kind of been selected. Which is fine. You get that. So you don't make the pick at Parramatta. And then, well, there is. It's politics in all sports, and you know what I mean. So there is that definitely in favoritism and stuff like that. So And then a lot of guys that don't make para and Penrith and stuff, smaller teams like the Bears, they have free trials or free for all trials.
Yeah.
So we went there, and then I think there was 2 days worth of trials where you get 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just lucky enough in the 20 minutes that, you do something that stands out. We had an old school teacher, Mr. Cave, who always told us that if you're doing like a trial or something, do something that stands out. Wear a pink sock, wear a headband. Do something that stands out. And I did that. I wore 2 different socks. I think I wore a green sock and a red sock, or I did something, and I just got lucky that one of the kickoffs at front row, and I kind of hit him and lost the ball. So that kind of, you need like one moment in one of those trials. Yeah. Because there's about 500 people who go to these trials. And then they kind of condense it. They'll invite you back for a second week when there's about 60. Yeah. And then you do another trial where you actually play a full game, not just like 20 minutes. Yeah. And then after that trial, they'll get a squad together. I think the squad was about 30, and then the squad did a full preseason, and then they cut the squad to 22 for the actual comp.
I actually like that whole thing about do something that stands out. You're not trying to stand out wearing like a pink crop top or anything like that.
No,
but it's those little nuances around it that you did something good. Oh, the guy with that 2 socks. Yeah. Rather than who was that guy. That's actually, that's a good advice.
Yeah, that was one of our teachers in school told us that, and we actually had the under 15s schoolboys tournament where I played for CIS, and I did the same thing in that tryouts because he said the same thing where it's something different. I think I wore like a red headband or something that day that just makes you stand out.
Yeah, that's great. Put a target on yourself though when you do that.
If you make mistakes, then you're screwed.
Get the guy with the red headband off the field. Who is that streaker?
He could backfire on you, but it's
no, but that's really good.
Yeah.
So you gave a crack at that, eh?
Yeah.
And you backed yourself, right?
You had a crack.
Were you aiming for the NRL?
Oh, at the time, I think everyone is at that, at that stage, everybody kind of is aiming at the NRL.
How old were you then?
17.
It's that interesting part, right? Like you're going through the professional cadet career of accounting, or you're chasing a big dream.
You made North Sydney Bears before you started as a tax person.
Before I started accounting, I did the trials. And then the trials start in like September. Yeah. And then you do 3 months of preseason, and the season starts in early March. Actually, no, it's 5 months of preseason. Yeah. So by the time
so you were committed.
Yeah, it was a full preseason, 3 nights a week at North Sydney, doing hill sprints and like tough training sessions, physically tough training sessions. Yeah. And then gym sessions, diets. I think I went from 80 kilos to 88 kilos based on the training, the diets and stuff like that. And then I started working as an accountant and went to work and then went to training at night and played on the weekends.
Damn.
It's pretty heavy.
What got you into being an accountant, a tax accountant at that?
Well, funny you say that. I signed up at uni and I was going full time, and I was working for Woolworths at the time in the deli, and I was going to uni full time. And it was like 2 days. I was like 3 days doing nothing. Yeah. I was kind of bored, and I had a good mate I went to school with called one Mr. Kevin Sampath. He's sitting right next to me.
Sounds like you, mate.
Yeah. And he'd started a cadetship with the audit office at the time, and he kind of told me about it. So I went online and I Googled cadetships, and one came up for a company called ESV Chartered Accountants, and I applied for it and got the job. So
you started there. Well, were you there for 2 years?
Yeah. So I was there for 2 years. So they kind of have your cadetship as like a 2 year with objectives and training and stuff like that. Yeah. And after 2 years, you finish your cadetship and you become like an intermediate accountant, whatever it was. So I finished the 2 years, and then I left because I decided to go back to full-time uni.
Yeah. But so, your heart was never kind of fully in it, was it?
Nah, like my dad's an accountant and like my mates are in the financial, industry. And I didn't enjoy the timesheets and billings, and it's a good base to have to understand numbers and financial position of a business. But I kind of didn't want to do it full time. And at the time, the company I was working for was just kind of doing like individuals and small to medium businesses. So it was a good, I don't regret it. And I think I was on 29 grand for 2 years, whatever it was. So at the time I thought it was
28 grand or something. I remember starting at the same.
Yeah. At the time I thought I was a man, but when I was like 20, I was like, damn, I'm like making like $1 grand a month. I'm paying like $50 in train tickets to get to the city.
I think that's the best thing. Like when you look at your career, you had to go at like a few different options to see where you found passion and obviously lifestyle where you can support yourself and your family. So it's good that you kind of because a lot of people start that and they'll be like, well, this is the only way. So even if I hate it, I'm just going to keep working as a tax accountant. And then, you blink, it's 40 years and you've hated the last 39 of your life.
So that's the whole thing. You backed yourself, you gave it a go, and you actually were bold enough to go, this is not what I want to do. I want to change. Like you said, one was passion, one was because, finance is a good base to have.
Yeah.
But you walked away from it. You had a crack at it, but what are you doing now, though?
Yeah, so I did that, and then I left that, and I went and worked firstly I drove a truck for about a year or two, and I was doing uni part time. So I was working at night.
Tanks, is it?
Yeah, delivering water tanks.
I'm finding a lot about you today.
Yeah, so I'd work all day and then went to uni at night. I just did that part time, and I did that because I wanted to make a full time wage.
Yeah.
As a full time student, you can only make like $200 or $300 a week, which I was doing at Woolies. So this way, I was still making a good wage, and I was doing uni at night. I drove a truck for a couple of years, and I went and worked as a labourer for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And then I graduated.
Pipes? Is that the pipe stuff?
Yeah.
Wait, you did carpeting. Was that before that?
Before the trucks, I worked with my uncle for a little bit laying carpet.
Yeah.
For about 8 months. That was tough work. That was like physically tough work.
Yeah.
And long days, I was getting $100 a day cash.
Yeah.
6 days a week, working probably like 60 hours for $600 cash.
Damn.
So I gave that up pretty quick. But I did it for about 6 months. But it was tough work. So yeah.
And then so you went from trucks, then you started doing some pipe stuff.
Yep. Working on
was it laying pipes or checking pipes?
A bit of both. So I worked for a company that contracted to Sydney Water.
Yeah.
So we just kind of did repairs and maintenance upgrades on Sydney Water assets.
Yeah.
Pipelines, vent shafts, manholes.
Yeah.
Just civil labouring. Working on a civil crew. So.
So no one on Ab talks about the manhole stuff. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, I have an idea.
Now I get that joke.
Yeah.
I just jumped in the joke, so I didn't know any context about it.
Yeah. But Ab was the engineer designing everything. I was just the dope digger.
And then from there, you jumped into working as an ops manager, obviously at Toll.
Yeah.
That was what, 7 years ago?
Yeah. So I didn't start as an ops manager. So once I graduated uni, I just applied for, it's actually a transport supervisor role, working for Toll, basically in charge of Woolworths, like delivering to all Woolworths stores in Sydney Metro.
Yeah.
So started there as just an allocator. Then did that for about 2 years, and then got promoted to a shift manager. Did that for about 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And now I'm an ops manager.
Nice.
So
what got you into that? Like, what kind of made you apply for a role like that, especially after you went through laying carpets, driving trucks, laying pipes, and you're like,
I think when I got
facilitate transport now.
Yeah, I think when I got my degree, I was kind of just looking for opportunities in the logistics industry.
Yeah.
So I drove a truck for a couple of years, so I had an idea about it, and I felt like I'd done, done the ground level stuff, so I could go in there and I think there's nothing worse than someone that comes in and, as a manager or whatever, and they don't know what they're talking about. I just looked for opportunities in the logistics industry, and I came up with Toll, with a supervisor, and I got the job, and I was doing shift work for a couple of years, 2 a.m. starts, weekends. It was good.
That's the thing when you talk to you about work and stuff like that. You make it sound so simple, like, it is what it is. But waking up at 2 a.m. and doing those shifts.
2 a.m.?
I was starting at 2 a.m.
Yeah, well, there you go. Waking up even earlier at a time of our lives where we were getting home from the pub at a similar time. That's a big sacrifice to make.
Yeah. Well, I think I was doing like rotating shifts, so 12-hour shifts, 4 days on, 4 days off. So it wasn't that bad. There were times when your roster falls on weekends where you miss out on a few things, or you don't, and you just go to work with no sleep.
I was going to ask you, did you ever back up?
Oh yeah, I backed up a few times. So
Did the old Superman in the telephone booth?
Oh yeah,
it's Toll Man.
Yeah, no, I backed up a few times. So that was a long ass 12-hour shift. Those ones. So.
Yeah.
Jeez,
do you think that's something that you are passionate about in terms of logistics and heading down that route? Yeah,
it is. So I'm interested in the transport industry and logistics. So I got no regrets jumping in there. I'm probably working there for the rest of my career now. So
it's good. It's pretty specialized, and you're always going to need it. So
that's right. It's specialized, and everyone needs it. Like especially in the retail industry I'm in, delivering to supermarkets, everyone needs to buy groceries. So
that's why I get on that crypto coin V chain.
That's right.
It's all about supply chain, mate.
But I think even when like COVID hit last year, a lot of people were working from home or dropping off. We were under the pump because Woolworths stores were pumping and no one could get toilet paper, and so we were like the opposite.
Yeah,
which kind of sucked for me, but it was,
But you had insight when everything was running out.
That's
We're
right.
getting the heads up.
That's right.
You guys got the heads up.
I can buy toilet paper direct from the warehouse.
Yeah, you've done a whole bunch of different things, and it's pretty diverse from a lot of different friends that we have, like who's just jumped into all different levels, right?
Yeah.
What's some of the things that you sit there and you go, that's the best way I've learned to do this, and these are the things you need to understand before jumping into something?
I think I find that I dedicate myself a lot more to something that I enjoy. So if I've got an interest in it, then I'll put myself. I'm willing to work hard for it. Yeah, I'm willing to sacrifice for it. You know what I mean? Talk about footy, if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't be going to training 3 nights a week, sprinting up hills and carrying weights around. That's not fun.
Yeah.
If I didn't enjoy the industry I was in, I wouldn't be waking up at 1 a.m. to start work at 2 a.m. So I think, look, if you're interested in something and you want to have a crack at it, then you need to be willing to have a crack at it. You can't just, expect it's going to fall on your lap and, well, that does happen to some people. Something falls on your lap, but I think most people, you need to earn it. You need to earn your stripes. You need to work hard for it.
I think a lot of people, like with your diverse, say they're really good at sports and they've done well just by natural talent, and then they expect the same outcome when they go into something completely different.
Yeah.
But like you said, you apply yourself to everything. You don't sit there and expect the best coming out of it. You just got to really go out there and have a go.
Yeah, that's right. But I think even in your career choices, I think you can go and do anything you want. Just because you're an accountant for 10 years, it doesn't mean that you can't apply for jobs and you might get something. You know what I mean? So if you're in an industry that you don't really like it, or you want to have a crack at something else, have a crack. But you have to kind of start from the bottom if you jump ship.
Yeah,
that's the issue, right? If you're a 10-year financial controller and you want to come to logistics, you'd have to start at the bottom and work your way back up. Yeah. So I think once you kind of get your foot in the door and you put, I'm now 6-7 years into my career in the transport industry, it's now too late for me to. It's not, but if I jump to another industry, I've got to start from the bottom again. So
work hard.
If you realize after a year or two you don't like it, you got to jump. Yeah.
Yeah, but the timing of your decisions, if you want to jump, obviously you got to think about other things, about family and what that means and all that kind of stuff too. But
that's right. Yeah.
End of the day, if you do it, you're right thing. You don't expect to go, well, I was a senior here, I should be a senior here. Mate, you got to prove yourself and do the hard yards.
But thanks for coming on, Jono. Season 2, episode 1. Gonna do it with a better bloke. So
100%. Cheers, bro.
Thanks,
I learned a lot about you today, man.
Thanks for having me, crack.
Hey guys, thank you so much for getting this far into the episode and listening to episode 1 of season 2 of Have a Crack. Interviewing Jono, one of our best mates, was a treat, really getting to know more about him, but getting him to share his life and his journey with you guys as well. I've got 3 great takeaways from that conversation. The first was do something that stands out, just like Jono wore pink socks at that footy trials. I think it's really good for us to do stuff that stands out sometimes, and that's not in a way to show off or be self-absorbed at work, but really do something that exudes and brings out your personality. I always say this, but in a room full of cookie cutter presentations, if you're doing presentations, do something different that conveys your message, stands out and brings out your personality. And that was takeaway number 1. Takeaway number 2 was don't waste time doing something you're not passionate about. You saw Jono jumping from different career to career, trying out different things until he really found something that stuck. And I know passion's a word that's thrown out there quite a bit, and it's really hard to find what you're passionate about. Sometimes it takes decades, but Alex Lieberman, one of the founders of Morning Brew, actually had a really great post recently that really brought out what passion means and how you can find passion. And he had 3 things. He said, follow your skills, follow your energy, and follow what pays the bills. And if you can kind of find that happy medium between those 3 things, that's probably your passion. And you can see that Jono really went through that journey and found that, and kudos to him. He's where he is now and he's enjoying it. And number 3 was he obviously jumped from different career to career, and like he said, be prepared to start from the bottom and do the hard yards. One of the guys that I really look up to in terms of work ethic and he's just a hustler is Drake, the music artist. And you saw he came from an acting career. He probably wasn't at the top of his acting career, but he was famous enough that people knew him. And he jumped into the music industry, and it's easy to think that you can make a couple of records and sell big albums straight away, but he had to work hard. He came literally from the bottom, just like his song said, started from the bottom. He literally hustled, made a lot of mixtapes, collabed with a lot of people, did the hard yards. And now he is where he is because he did those hard yards. So that's just a great example of not taking things for granted, being prepared to do those hard yards. So yeah, thanks again, guys, for listening to this episode. We'd love some feedback. Like we said, we're doing something different with season 2. Season 1 was a lot of exploration for us, and I think we've found something good with what we're trying to do. We want to really help people that aren't just listening, but even people in our networks as much as we can, and also meet a lot of cool and interesting people while we're at it as well. So give us feedback, hit us up, give us some tips, advice, tell us what you liked, tell us what you didn't like. And hopefully as we go episode by episode, we'll start to make this something great that can really benefit a lot of people out there. So thank you, and catch you in the next episode.
Testing.
60.
Burton, kill it. So does this sound work?
Oh,
There you go.
Gotta make this higher.
Mate, you're not even in the footage at all, Dovey. Do you want me to slide back so you can get yourself in?
This has-
It's not alcohol, bro. You don't have to cut yourself out from it.
Oh, my goodness.
Good one. Get yourself out. Right, yeah.
Cool.
That's what you go to. You're looking at me, bro. I'm like, you're gonna give me a kiss, bro. Looking at me right in the eyes.